Are you thinking about doing a PhD, especially a self-funded one, whilst managing life, career, and if you're anything like me, a few learning differences along the way, then this episode is for you. Hi, I'm Aya, and this is I'm No Rookie, the podcast for beauty, wellness, and smart educators or professionals or whoever's interested in growing, learning, and stepping into new spaces without forgetting where they came from. Today, I want to kind of look at the reality that it takes to complete your first year of a PhD. And not just any PhD, one that you're funding yourself, you're building from scratch, and you're navigating as a neurodiverse student. Whether you're thinking of doing a PhD, already enrolled, or you're just curious about what the process really looks like, I'm sharing the good, the bad, and the messy middle. So let's get started. When I applied to do my PhD, I finally had that eureka moment where I knew what I wanted to do. Honestly speaking, over the past 3 years prior to doing my PhD, I thought about doing it, but I didn't have the topic. I had a friend who had started her PhD and she was always encouraging me to also do it, mainly because she wanted me to suffer with her. But I just didn't know what I wanted to focus on. And it wasn't something I was just going to go into willy-nilly. I was funding it myself, out of my own pocket, no scholarships, no funding bodies. So unless I was sure I wasn't going to be starting, that moment finally came in the July or August of 2024. I had this sudden clarity. I knew I wanted to focus on helping people like myself, dyslexic students who use AI and who have found it empowering. I've been using ChatGPT since 2023 and it completely changed the way I approach learning. It saved me hours, helped me to reflect better, summarize key points, and gave me audio options. It wasn't about cutting corners, it was about learning differently. So that became my research question. I wanted to explore the lived experiences of dyslexic students and how AI tools have supported or challenged them in higher education. And if I'm honest, I also wanted to know what features really made a difference because long term I would love to be involved in building or improving a tool like that. So when you apply for a PhD, especially in the UK, you have to find a university that aligns with your research interest. Some unis already have a PhD project listed and you apply to those. But I had my own topic, so I looked for a university that will let me propose my own. I returned to where I did my undergraduate 17 plus years ago, the University of Greenwich. What I didn't realise until I applied, that you have to write a research proposal. I think it was like 1,000 to 3,000 words depending on the uni. You need to outline your rationale, your aims, the basic literature review, your methodology. Now, I want to kind of break that down. What I will say, don't underestimate that part of the process. It's your first real test. Another thing to be aware of is sometimes you also have to find a supervisor before you apply. Luckily enough for me, Greenwich doesn't require you to have a supervisor in place first. You can apply with your idea and then they will match you with someone in that speciality or closely related to your speciality and your topic. Other unis will expect you to have secured your own supervisor before you apply. So they will usually have a list of supervisors on their website that work with their university. I sent off my proposal, not even sure if I would make the deadline because it was August and I was looking to start in September, October. A week later, I received an email. There's one last interview slot before the summer break. Do you want it? So I jumped on Zoom, super nervous. I prepared hard. I was ready. And one of the panelists who interviewed me actually became my supervisor. And when I explained this was the first university that encouraged me to get my dyslexic assessment at the age of 27, it became the emotional full circle moment. I got in and I started in October 2024. Honestly, looking back at it now, I can reflect and make sense of it all. Those first 4 or 5 months, they were hard. First, the university system glitched because I had studied there before. They tried to merge my old ID with my new one. It locked me out of everything. Emails, portals, resources, gone. It took months to sort out. Then came the student finance issue. I applied for the doctorate loan, which is available if you're UK based, which only covers tuition fees, not living costs. That even took about 4 to 5 months to come through. There was a gap in communication between university and student finance England system, which was a nightmare. No access to funding, paying out of pocket for tuition fees, trying to juggle basic living. I even had to go through formal complaints procedures. But you know what came from all of that? Connection. I had a supervisory team, 2 supervisors, and my supervisors really went above and beyond to support me. It made me realize I had a strong team behind me, and that gave me confidence when everything else felt out of control. Alongside all of that, I was still trying to learn how to do a PhD. So when you are officially enrolled and you're now a PhD researcher student, you have to start again with your research plan, so your research proposal, because the one that you submitted for the application, it will change, and it should change. I had to rework mine and get it approved by the school. Then came ethics process. So this is like the first year if you're doing it full time. This might be over 2 years if you're doing it part time. If your research involves human participants, you have to go through ethics clearance, and it's serious. My ethics application was 42 pages long. It covered everything from data collection to safeguarding participants. And one of my supervisors kept reminding me this isn't just a checklist, this is about protecting you and your participants. I submitted my application, received 6 unique revisions. I did them all in the same day and sent it back. I was cleared to carry out my data collection. So whilst all this was happening, I also started my literature review, and that's where being dyslexic really showed up, because trying to make sense of academic text and then reframe and write it in my own words, it took time. Thankfully, my supervisors understood, and one of them was amazing at breaking things down to help me cut through the noise. Because here's what happens. You hear how other people are doing their PhD. You start questioning your own. You get lost in ideas like conceptual framework, theoretical positioning, philosophical paradigms. And at one point, I tried to explain my conceptual framework to my supervisor. He stopped me and said, "You've got the right idea, but let's keep it simple. Do what you need to pass." And that was the best advice I received all year. Somewhere in the middle of all of this, another turning point came. My PhD, research PhD, wasn't a taught one. I didn't have regular classes and I had classmates in the traditional sense. There was no built-in cohort, no weekly lectures from familiar faces. You're just doing your research on your own, of course, and you see your supervisors once a month. And of course, you also have opportunities to attend workshops and training sessions. There's loads of them, but you don't have set days when you go to a classroom and you have a group or cohort. And this can be such a lonely journey for so many people that are doing PhD research. But the great thing about turning up to some of those workshops, it was that you get to meet others that are in your faculty, in your school. It was in one of those workshops, one of those rooms, that I met another PGR student who had just started a community of doctoral students. He invited me to join, and it changed everything. And suddenly, I had people to talk to, people going through the same stuff: ethical forms, supervisor struggles, imposter syndrome, admin drama, people who already been through it, and those just starting out. I could share what I'd gone through, support others, and learn how to navigate the things that were still ahead of me. It helped me to feel like I belonged. It gave me space to be honest about what I didn't understand, and what I was scared of and what I found frustrating. And I honestly believe everything I went through led me to that space for a reason. So if you're doing a PhD or planning to, find your people, whether it's online, in person, or through a Slack group. Don't isolate yourself. And one more thing I want to highlight, something I've been really intentional about. This PhD isn't just about submitting a thesis at the end of it. I chose to do this full time, not part time, because I want the full experience. I want to explore teaching opportunities, run workshops, contribute to research, write and present, and just see what's possible. And in order to do that, the first things I did, I joined the university conference committee, I attended conferences, I met lecturers from other universities. Each opportunity opens something up. Not all of it leads to something right away, of course. And yes, there's politics too, but the visibility matters. So if you're planning to do a PhD, ask yourself, what do you want from it? Not just what you expect to do, but what else do you want to explore during those years? So that's what my first year looked like. Emotional, exhausting, but eye-opening. If you're thinking about doing a PhD or already on the journey, just know it's meant to stretch you, but it doesn't have to break you. Find your people, ask for help, and don't let someone else's version of a PhD make you doubt your own. And if you're listening to this and thinking maybe a PhD is for me, here are a few things I encourage you to think about before you apply. Get clear on your reason. What is it that you want to explore? You don't need all the answers, but you do need that spark of curiosity to guide you. Check what the application process involves. Some universities expect you to write a full research proposal. Others might have a structured topic that you apply to. Each one is slightly different, so give yourself time. Also, understand the funding. Will you need to self-fund? Can you apply for a loan or a scholarship? Make sure you know what financial support is and isn't available. And ask yourself, how much time can you realistically give to your PhD? I chose to do mine full time because I wanted to explore everything, but that won't suit everyone. And part time is available. Just be aware of the structure and the length of time. And also start building your support network early. Look for peer groups, follow researchers on LinkedIn, join academic communities. It makes a difference to know you're not alone. And finally, remember the journey is yours. It doesn't have to look like everyone else's. If this episode helped you or made you feel seen, I'd love for you to share it. Send it to a friend, post it online, or just keep it in your back pocket for when you need a reminder. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It helps more professionals find the show. Remember, you're not no rookie, you're just getting started.